Hi, I'm Chris Duncan, County Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences here in Oldham County, Kentucky. And today we're going to talk about gifts from the kitchen. Now these include hot chocolate mix. We also have an apricot bread. Then we'll make a cookie. It's one of my favorite. It's Hootie Creek cookies. Then we're going to make something called puppy chow. And then we're going to make a turkey noodle soup, and we'll finish up with a nice jelly. We're now ready to make an apricot bread mix. But first I want to introduce Sherry Ragsdale. She's our wonderful Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program Assistant, and she has wonderful programs with families and children. So she's going to help us today, and we're going to get started making this gift. It makes a quick bread, and it's something that you can make with usually ingredients that you have in your home. So we're going to get started with a cup of nuts, and we've got some canning jars. These are wide mouth jars. We've washed them and made sure they're nice and clean. So we're going to start off with a half a cup of nuts that we've chopped, and we want to try to get these leveled out as we put them in. And then the next thing is dried apricots. So Miss Sherry, you want to put those in? And they're kind of sticky, aren't they? They're somewhat of a challenge to get in the jar. All right, and then we want to kind of press it down. Okay, now we need a half a cup of sugar. So we're ready to go with that half a cup. And we kind of shake it down and tap it when you're making these mixes. Not too hard on the tapping. And we're using a canning funnel. And then all it needs is 2½ cup of Bisquick. Now, it might be best to spoon this in. And we're using the Heart Healthy Bisquick, or you could have a bread mix if you've like to make your own. This is basically flour, baking powder, and salt that's already made up. But we chose a Heart Healthy one that's already made. Now this looks like it's not going to fit in the jar, right, Miss Sherry? I'm going to have to do some shaking and a tapping on this one, right? There we go. That's a good, yeah. We've made these with 4-H students and oh gosh, we've even, we made them at our Dare to Care program last December. So we've done a lot of bread mixes. And it doesn't look like we're going to get it all in the jar, but we are. You just got to keep tapping it down and pressing it down. And it's not that hard. Don't get discouraged. You can get it all in that jar. Okay, just a little bit more to go. Now this is a nice gift for someone who likes to bake, or someone that you're trying to encourage to do a little bit more cooking at home. It makes a lovely loaf of bread. Now, we still need to add the baking powder and the salt. So if you'd like to get those in, Miss Sherry. And I don't like to mix them in. I just kind of leave them on top. Then we add our 2-piece lid and just tighten it so it's tight. Not so tight that you can't get it off, but then add just a little bit of holiday ribbon. Now these make nice thank you gifts, holiday gifts, any type of gift, hostess gifts that you might be interested in making. So when we have little tag, you can have a little tag. We have one already finished and the printed little tag with the directions on what to make. Now, to make this, you just dump it into a big bowl, add egg, milk, and a little bit of vanilla, mix that all together, and put it in your loaf pan. You need a well-greased loaf pan, and bake it. It takes about an hour at 350, and you'll have a nice loaf of bread when you're finished. Now you can make other types of bread. I happen to have a bread machine, and I make bread every week in my bread machine. This happens to be a salt-free bread over here, and it's a wonderful bread to have for those people on special diets, someone who might have a heart condition or something like that. So yeast bread and quick breads are wonderful holiday gifts.
Welcome back. I'm going to show you how to make a hot chocolate mix in a jar or in a festive container. This is a very easy recipe for children to make, and they need very little assistance with it. And the first thing that you need is 3 cups of powdered milk, instant dry milk. And I've already measured that and put that into the sifter. And then the next thing you need is 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I've already measured this out. And you'll just dump that in the sifter with the powdered milk. Then you need a 1/2 cup of cocoa. And you just put that in there too. You have a large bowl and you just kind of sift it through together. Kind of makes it a fine mix. There's lots of beverages that you can make to put in jars just besides hot chocolate. There's like a spiced tea mix. There's also a mocha mix. All these are very popular, but this is one that the children like to make and like to drink. And they can give it as gifts to relatives and friends. And it's very inexpensive. And once you get that sifted, you can take a spoon to kind of measure it, move it around to make sure it's blended well. Then you'll want to put it in a festive container. I have a container like this, or you can put it in a mason jar, or you can put it in like a Tupperware type of plastic container, just an airtight container. Okay, I've already mixed up some yesterday, and I'm going to actually put, what you need to do once you get your mix together is to take 2 tablespoons of the mix and put it into your mug. Then you can add 8 ounces of hot water, which would be about half of this jar. And you just stir it up, and you can drink it plain like this, or you can add marshmallows to it, or you can even add a little bit of whipped cream. And when you're ready to give the gift, you have the recipe and the directions on a little tag, and you can put a little festive bow or some sort of ornament on there to give. And that is a very simple, easy gift for children to make and to give to their relatives and friends.
Now we're going to make a cranberry Hootie Creek cookie. Now this is a special gift from the kitchen. It's not only good as far as taste, it is good for you. So it's pretty easy to make. Again, we're going to use another canning jar. We have a half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of self-rising flour. We'll get this in the... Now, Miss Sherry, do you know what self-rising flour is? Do you know the difference between that?
Self-rising flour has the salt and the baking powder and soda in it.
Right, yeah, and it's kind of helps you speed along your cooking, getting your ingredients ready. Now we're going to add some rolled oats. Oh, what do rolled oats do for us?
Whole grains.
Oh, yes, we want to have whole grains in our diets, you bet. Now we have a cup of regular flour mixed with a half a teaspoon of salt. Is that kind of weird or what? It's not too weird, is it?
No.
No, it's convenient. And that kind of helps balance out the mix. Not too much salt. Okay, let's shake that down. We'll try to get our layers a little bit even there. Now, all we need to do is add some sugar. You want to put in the sugar? We only need 1/3 cup of white sugar. So, as Americans, we usually are trying to cut down on our sugar, our salt, and our fat. So just 1/3 cup of sugar is not a lot. But we're going to add some dried cranberries, and they, of course, have concentrated fruit sugar, but they do have a little vitamin for us. Oh, we have a few that got away there. Get those back in there and press those down. Do a little tapping.
Very colorful mix.
Oh, exactly. It does have a very festive mix. This makes a great gift. Now we're ready to add the brown sugar. And when you measure brown sugar, you have to do what, Miss Sherry?
You have to pack it in.
You bet. And that's in your measuring cup, and we'll try to pack it down in our jar too. Now, this one's not as hard to pack as some of the mixes. That packs well. And then all we have left are the pecans, so let's put that in there.
So half a cup of pecans.
That's right, and shake those little babies down in there, and then we put our top on, and then we are ready to decorate and add the tag and the directions. Now, Hootie Creeks bake in the oven. They bake in the oven at 350. Yes, they're ready. I have a feeling they're ready to serve. There's nothing like a nice warm cookie. We made some earlier, and these are ready to come out of the oven and nice and hot. So Hootie Creeks make a nice snack after school. They also can be a dessert with one of your meals, and it's a nice thing that children can make for adults, or adults can make for other adults, and it's not a recipe that makes a lot of cookies. Only makes about 24 cookies, so we hope it's one of the recipes that becomes one of your favorites.
I have another wonderful gift from the kitchen. This is actually a gift that would be good for teachers, friends, and some relatives even. Okay, this is called Puppy Chow for People. And first thing that you do is you have half a cup of chocolate chips. And once again, I'm using a mason jar, a wide mouth one. And you dump the chocolate chips in, kind of tap them a little bit to settle. Then you want to take your 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, which I've already measured out here, and you put it in a baggie. I used a freezer bag because it's a little bit stronger. And you want to get the air out of it. Then you seal it, and you put that on top of the chocolate chips. And you want to press that down into the jar firmly, because you've got to put 2½ cups of Crispix cereal on top of that, so you want to make sure that you got room. Okay, and then you want to add your cereal 1 cup at a time. And tap on the jar to make sure you're going to get your cereal in there. And once again, I'm using Crisp-X. You could use Rice Chex or any type, Kroger's brand of rice type cereal or corn type cereal. Then you want to put your lid on there. And once again, you can put a type of a bow or a ribbon of some sort on top. You could even use a colored piece of material to kind of put in between the lids on the jar. And I have my finished product. When you go to make the puppy chow, you'll have the directions attached to the jar. And the first thing that you want to do is melt your chocolate. You want to dump your cereal into a bowl. And then you take your chocolate chips and melt them in a bowl, another bowl, for in the microwave, say 15 minutes and stir, and then another 15 minutes and stir till it's all gone. You don't want to overcook the chocolate. And then you want to pour the chocolate on top of the cereal and mix it around. And then when you're done with that and got the cereal and covered with chocolate, you add your powdered sugar on top and you stir that around too. And so this is your puppy chow. And it makes a wonderful gift, and I think kids would really enjoy it. It's another thing that they can do with a little bit of assistance with the microwave and melting the chocolate.
Well, now we're ready to make a special gift for the kitchen, and this is a homemade jam. This happens to be strawberry orange marmalade. Now, I've made strawberry jam, blackberry jam, grape jam. I've tried to make apple jam and other things, but this is a really easy jam. You don't have to have a jam maker, but it's nice to have these. You can get your jam made and processed in just an hour. But today we're just going to use a burner. We're going to get this hot, and we're going to add our 2 packs of sweetened frozen sliced strawberries that are thawed. Miss Sherry, if you can help scrape those in there. All right.
There we go.
Okay, we'll get those nice and bubbly. Now we're going to add the whole jar of orange marmalade. Now this
That is a reduced sugar too, or sugar-free.
is the sugar-free. So we want people to cut that sugar down whenever possible. The American diet is loaded with sugar, and you know it's not good for your teeth. It's not good for your weight. So you want to cut your sugar down whenever possible. Get all this scraped out. Get all the goodness out, and get that mixed together. Now, one thing we're going to add is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And that'll give it a little tartness. And then we have 3 tablespoons of pectin. Now, pectin is just a concentrated dried fruit, and that helps make the jelly gel. And then it just takes a cup of sugar. We're going to get this nice and hot. So using the sugar-free jam helps balance out that cup of sugar. Now, we've combined our strawberries, our juice, and our marmalade with our lemon juice and pectin. We're going to heat this on high. We've got that going really good. And we're going to bring it to a boil. Now, normally jam will develop some foam once it gets going. And to rid the jam of the foam, you can do 2 things. You can stop or you can remove the pan from the burner and skim off the foam, or you can add a little butter or margarine. So we'll be back in just a minute, and we'll show you how to finish up the jam. Well, we're ready to finish up our jam, our strawberry marmalade jam. So it's been boiling almost a minute, and it's nice and hot. We got to stir it a little bit. Now,
Sure smells good.
Yeah, normally you might cook your jam about 20 minutes, but this is done in just a minute. And then we're going to ladle it into our jars. It's so quick and easy. And we can probably go ahead and turn the burner down. Ooh, it went off fast. And we have a few canning aids. You should make sure your jars are nice and clean, and make sure they're free of any nicks or anything if they've been used before. If you buy new jars, you don't have to inspect those so closely, but it's always good to check them out. And we have to remember headspace. Headspace for jam is just 1/4 of an inch, so I'm getting close. It's a little bit hard to judge, but you can do it. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so now we're going to wipe them off. And Miss Sherry's got a nice clean cloth. Make sure the lid is able to seal with no problems. It does smell good. And then we have a nice little magic wand that we use with canning to add the lid, and then we tighten the ring. Now, when you finish with your jam, there's 2 things you can do. You can put it in the refrigerator. Actually, there's 3. You can put it in the refrigerator, you can put it in the freezer, or you can put it in a pot of boiling water and process it for 10 minutes, and that way it can stay out on the shelf. But if you don't process it in a boiling water bath, you have to put it in the refrigerator or put it in the freezer. So jam makes a wonderful gift. We've got the tag, and all you have to do if you give a gift of jam, the only directions is just to open it up and put it on your biscuit or put it on your bread, and it's ready to go. So it's an easy gift that is appreciated, and my father-in-law would always appreciate homemade jam. He was 94 when he passed away a few months ago, but he said he could still eat. So he always appreciated homemade jam and gifts from the kitchen.
Hey, I'm going to show you how to make a layered soup mix, and this is a good way of using leftovers. Like at the holidays, it's called a turkey noodle soup, but you could put chicken in there if you wanted to. It's a way of using your good leftover turkey when you're looking at all that turkey and you're thinking, I've had too much turkey, and what am I going to do with all this turkey I've got left? So this is one thing you can do. And what you need is a 1/2 cup of lentils. Also have a pint wide mouth jar. You put your lentils in the bottom, okay, and then you have 2 tablespoons of dried onion, and a lot of these spices you're going to have in your pantry anyway. Just dump that in there, and 1 1/2 tablespoons of chicken flavored bouillon. And I've got that. Okay, 1 1/2 teaspoons of dill weed, 1/8 teaspoon of ground celery, 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 small bay leaf, and a cup of uncooked egg noodles. I usually try to get the thinner noodles because they'll fit in the jar better. Okay, then you want to put your lid on it. And once again, you can put your label on there, and it has the directions. When you're ready to use this soup mix, what you do is you add 8 cups of water, the jar of soup. 1 package of frozen mixed vegetables, or if you don't want to do mixed vegetables, you could do peas and carrots, green beans, just whatever you got in your freezer. And you want to bring the water to a boil, and you add a cup of diced turkey or chicken. And you want to bring the water to a boil, and you stir in the soup mix, and reduce the heat to medium-low, and cover and simmer for 15 minutes. Discard the bay leaf, and stir in the frozen vegetables and the cooked turkey or chicken, and cook for 5 minutes or until the noodles are tender and the vegetables are tender. And that's a good way of using your leftover holiday meals.
Sherry and I had a great time making all these gifts from the kitchen, and we hope you have a good time too. You can find all the recipes and the gift tags on the Oldham County Extension website. If you have any questions, just give us a call, and just have a fun time doing this. Thanks so much for watching.